Hi everyone, my name is Amber, this is Bucky, welcome back to my channel. This is my May book haul. So I have failed in my book buying ban or restriction. I was supposed to be buying one book for every 3 books that I have read, but in April I kind of started to ignore my own rules. There were just books that I was so excited about. There were some book club books that I wanted to read and some books went on sale, so I have kind of thrown those rules out of the window for now. However, I'm going to get back to it I think in June. I think I'm just really excited about lockdown being mostly over and fingers crossed having my vaccine in a couple of months. So I have probably about 20 books to show you right now, so I'm going to get into it. The first 2 books are ones that I was sent by the publisher. The first one is one that I talked about in my April wrap up, and I have hopefully written a review by now because this book is coming out in May. That is Where the Rhythm Takes You. This one is about a main character who lives in Tobago. She is kind of running the hotel, the family hotel, along with her father, and she has been since her mother died because that's what her mother wanted. She feels kind of left behind because her mother is no longer with her. Her friends are going and studying abroad, or they're starting a career in the US, and so she feels kind of trapped on this island. One day her ex-best friend and ex-boyfriend shows up and he is staying at this hotel, and she is asked to kind of show him around, and she's forced to deal with some feelings that she hadn't really dealt with to begin with. I really enjoyed this book. I really like books with this like celebrity aspect, and in this one there are influencers and models and singers. I really enjoyed it. It was very well written, and it's also a debut as well, so it was a very strong debut for me. I gave this one 4 stars. I would highly recommend it. The next one I also got from the publisher, but I haven't read it yet, and that is Xoxo. This one is kind of similar. I think this is about a main character who is part of a K-pop band. The back says she is a cello prodigy who has spent years planning her perfect future. He is a member of one of the biggest K-pop bands in the world, and he's strictly forbidden from dating. I think they're going to get together and their relationship is kind of going to throw them off, and it's not going to be exactly as they planned. I'm really excited to read this one, but it's not coming out until July, so I'm probably going to end up reading it in June. The next 2 books that I got are ones that I bought for the Space Sirens book club. The first one is The Bone Shard Daughter. As you can see, I'm currently in the middle of it. This one, I don't really know what it's about, even though I am 50 pages in. So it's an adult fantasy, and I know that one of the main characters is the Emperor's daughter, and the Emperor seems to deal with bone shard magic, so he takes kind of tithes, little shards of bone from his citizens. I don't really know why yet. I think he makes like creatures or constructs from these bones, and it's really creepy. But I think what's really drawing me into this book is the fact that there's a smuggler main character and he's just saved a kitten, so that's perfect for me. I'm really looking forward to reading on. The next one I got for book club is the Unbroken. We'll be reading this book in May, and this one I know is a political fantasy, and the 2 main characters are women and they start to fall in love with each other. I don't know if they start to like each other in this first book. I'm hoping it's going to be like a slow burn enemies to lovers romance that kind of spans the entire trilogy, but I'm hoping it's going to be good. I know that Justine loved this one, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. I am going to start it as soon as I finish The Bone Shard Daughter, I think. The next one I got is one that I'm buddy reading with a bunch of people, and that is The Stars Are Legion by Hurley, who wrote The Light Brigade, which I loved. I don't know what this book is about. It's sci-fi. It says, somewhere on the outer rim of the universe, a mass of decaying world ships known as the Legion is traveling in the seams between the stars. As worlds continue to die, a desperate plan is put into motion. Zan wakes up with no memory, prisoner of a people who say they are her family. Okay, that's all I need to know. I love books about memory loss and amnesia if they're sci-fi or fantasy. I don't really love that if it's contemporary fiction. I trust Hurley to write a fantastic sci-fi because I loved The Light Brigade. I gave it 5 stars, so I'm hoping this one's going to be a 5-star read as well. I'm buddy reading this with Angela and then a bunch of other people. I can't remember who exactly is taking part. The next book I got was a graphic novel, and it was very expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it. It sounds very good, and that is This Place. So this is a graphic novel that spans the history of what is currently Canada. So the blurb says, explore the past 150 years through the eyes of Indigenous creators in this groundbreaking graphic novel anthology. These 10 stories are an emotional and enlightening journey through Indigenous wonderwork, serial killings, psychic battles, and time travel. See how Indigenous people have survived a post-apocalyptic world since contact. I think this is going to be absolutely heartbreaking, but I think it's going to be a very important read. I don't really know much about Canada in general and how people were living there before the British or French went over there. I've read a couple of books from Indigenous people, but I haven't read very many, admittedly, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. The next one I bought is a non-fiction book as part of my true crime project that I'm doing. This is going to be research for my 3rd true crime video, and that is The Murders at White House Farm. It's the story of Jeremy Bamber, and if you don't know what that is or who that is, then I will tell you in my true crime video that's coming up towards the end of this month. I have another one to post first, and then I've got a third one, but I need to read this first before I actually record that video. The next books are ones that I got from the charity shop. So in the UK, charity shops reopened in, I think, April, and I hadn't been to them until last week when I found a few books in there that I had had my eye on for a while. A couple of them were ones that I needed to buy, and then the others were ones I just wanted to pick up because they were only £1. So the first one is The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. I don't know anything about this. It's sci-fi, and it's the two of them teaming up to write a series. It's set partly in 1916 when the main character Percy wakes up in no man's land, and in 2015 a policewoman is exploring the burned out home of a mad scientist. I don't know if this is going to be kind of time travel or if it's going to be a parallel universe type thing, but I'm very much looking forward to reading it eventually. The next one I bought was The Stationery Shop of Tehran. Is that how you pronounce it? Tehran? This is literary fiction. I think it's going to be very emotional. It says here that the country is in turmoil and that a love story is just beginning, so I think it's going to probably break my heart, and that's okay. The next one I got is The Husband's Secret by Moriarty. This is the author of Big Little Lies, and I want to do a project, I think, where I read all of her books and decide which one is best, I think. I don't know how many she has written though, so that might be a long project. It says here that this one is about a mother of three who discovers an old envelope in the attic. Written in her husband's handwriting, it says, "To be opened only in the event of my death." She opens it and time stops. It says here that the letter confesses a terrible mistake which would wreck the family as well as the lives of others, and that's all I'm going to read because I don't know if the synopsis is about to give away what the letter says. Next one I picked up is a thriller, and that is The Chestnut Man. I've been meaning to read this for ages. I was so excited to find it in the charity shop because I don't tend to buy thrillers because it's quite expensive for a book that I'm only going to read once and then probably forget about. So I don't normally buy them, but this one was only £1, so I went ahead and got it. Don't know what this one is about. I think it's set in Copenhagen, but I don't read synopses for thrillers generally, so I'm not going to do that. I don't know if this one is translated. Judging by the author's surname, it may well be. The last one I got from the charity shop is Frostbitten by Kelly Armstrong. As you may know, I'm doing a reading project throughout the year where I reread or read this entire series. It's Women of the Other World. This one I think is book number 10 or 11. It was only £1. I didn't own this one already, so I went ahead and got it when I saw it because, you know, I'm definitely going to be reading it this year. The next book I got is a sequel to a book that I loved, and that is Heart of Flames. You've probably already seen my review of Crown of Feathers, which I gave 5 stars. I loved it. I will link it up above if you haven't watched it already. This is a YA fantasy book. Obviously this is the sequel, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on what it's about, but it should hopefully pick up where the first book left off. The first book is about a girl who becomes a phoenix rider. She has to, or she wants to become a phoenix rider, but she has to disguise herself as a boy to do so. And then there's also a war happening in the background, but it's probably going to be more of a thing in this book. I'm so excited to read it, but I'm a bit annoyed because I ordered the paperback thinking that it was going to match Crown of Feathers, but as you can see, it's huge, and this one says it's for international sale only, and I honestly don't know what edition this is because the author recently posted on Instagram after I had bought this paperback saying that the paperback was just coming out and she was celebrating the release day of the paperback, so I have no idea what this edition is or what it's for, but I have it now and it's going to look ridiculous on my shelf, especially if I get the third book in normal size paperback. The next 2 books are ones that I got for a project that I'm doing that I've told you about already, and those are both by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I went ahead and bought One True Loves. This is a contemporary book. I don't really know anything about it, and I'm not going to spoil myself because I think the synopsis might give quite a lot away. So this is one that I'm going to be reading for my project. I'm going to be starting it this week and I'm so excited. In case you don't know already, the project is I'm going to be reading all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, at least the ones I haven't read already, and I'm going to be deciding which one is best. The next one I bought was Maybe in Another Life. Again, I don't really know much about this one. I think it might be a sliding doors type thing. Yeah, it says it's told in concurrent storylines, parallel universes, different stories. So that's all I need to know. I love books like that, so I think I'm going to enjoy this one. The next one I got is a sci-fi book that I've heard so many good things about, and that is Winter's Orbit. I've been kind of ignoring the people who have described the synopsis of this one because I want to go into it not knowing anything, but I know that it's about 2 guys who are entering into an arranged marriage together and they have to try to save the universe, I think. I think it sounds really good. I want to read more sci-fi soon because I'm kind of getting into that sort of mood, so I'm looking forward to reading it. This next one is one that I've already read and I gave it 5 stars. I did originally receive it as a review copy, but I loved it so much so I decided to buy it. I've done a whole review of it as well. I'll link it up above. That is Shipped by Angie Hockman. This is a romance book. I loved it. It's about a main character who is a marketing manager, and she and her work rival have to go off on a cruise because they work for a cruise company, and they have to go off to the Galapagos Islands to do sort of research and kind of get over their differences. And they're both vying for the same promotion. I loved this one so much. I talk about it more in my video, so go and check that out if you want to know more. The next one I got was Not Even Bones, which is one that I've heard about quite a bit actually from, I think, did Kayla read this or Nikki read it? I honestly don't know much about it, but I know that a few of my friends do really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to giving it a go myself. I think it's kind of YA horror thriller, which I always need more of. Finally, this is the last book. This is one that was gifted to me, so thank you, JB Taylor. This is Dragon Pearl, which is Yoon Hurley's middle grade book. I think it's the first in the series, and I don't know much about it, I'm gonna be honest, but I am doing a middle grade project in probably June or July where I read a bunch of middle grade books and do a reading vlog for it. I'm really looking forward to getting into some more middle grade because I really don't read enough of it, and I think middle grade fantasy or sci-fi are just a ton of fun. So I think this one is a sci-fi. It says here that 13-year-old Min comes from a long line of fox spirits, but you'd never know by looking at her. To keep her family safe, Min's mother insists that none of them use any fox magic. So I think it's sci-fi fantasy by the sounds of it, and it's very short. I think I'm going to love it. I've heard amazing things about this book and Yoon Hurley's writing in general. So those are all the books that I got recently. Like I said, there were a lot, but I'm expecting May to be a bit more chill when it comes to buying books because I don't think I'm gonna need to stress buy anything. I feel like I'm doing a decent job of getting through them, so I'm not really adding too many books to my TBR, but to be honest, I'm not really worried because I've been making a great dent in my TBR this year anyway. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these, what you thought of them, and which ones I should read first. I will talk to you in another video. Bye!